CJN. Police arrest suspected killer of APC chieftain Gulak, others in Imo. Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, says he is still searching for his running mate. And away from Nigeria, G7 pledges renewed solidarity with Ukraine, more Russia sanctions. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. And now the details. President Muhammadu Buhari has sworn in Justice Olukayode Ariwoola, the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. This follows the resignation of Justice Tanko Muhammad on Sunday night on the grounds of ill health. Justice Ariwoola was the next most senior justice of the Supreme Court at the time of Justice Muhammad's resignation. Until his resignation, the immediate past CJN was, according to reports, seriously ill. News of his resignation broke barely a week after 14 justices of the Supreme Court wrote to him to lament the dilapidated state of affairs in the apex court. In the leaked letter, the justices alleged that Justice Muhammad failed to address the issues raised despite drawing his attention to them, but the allegations were denied by an aide to the former CJN. Police authorities in Imo State say that they have arrested one of the suspected killers of a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Ahmed Gulak. The public relations officer of Imo State Police Command, Mike Abatam, disclosed this while briefing reporters on Monday in Owerri, the state capital. The suspect, identified as Anosike Chimobi from Ihiazu, Mbase local government area of the state, was apprehended 1 year after Gulak's death. Gulak, a former aide to former President Goodluck Jonathan, was murdered by a group of armed men on May 30, 2021, during a visit to Imo State. Parading the suspect alongside others, Abatam said Chimobi had been on the trail of the command since the killing of Gulak last year. Chimobi, while speaking with reporters, admitted that he drove the criminals to the spot and blocked Gulak's vehicle, which was on its way to the airport. In a related development, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has issued a 10-day ultimatum to gunmen operating in the state to lay down their arms. Uzodinma gave the ultimatum ahead of the July 12th visit of President Muhammadu Buhari to Imo State. He advised the gunmen to leave the forest in the state and surrender themselves and their arms to the traditional rulers for unconditional pardon. Speaking to newsmen in Owerri, Uzodinma said that the state will be hosting the annual Army Day celebration from June 30th to July 6th, and that no fewer than 10,000 military personnel drawn from the Army, Navy, Air Force and the police, among others, will be in attendance. He said that the president, who is expected to declare open the Army Day celebration, had also fixed July 12 and 13 as the period he will commission the Owerri Olu and Owerri Okigwe roads, as well as perform the flag off of the construction of Owerri Mbase Umuahia from fire service and the Olu Akoka road and the foundation laying ceremony of the Imo International Conference Center in Owerri. Still on security matters, Ansaru terrorist group has banned political activities in many communities in the eastern part of Birnin-Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. Chairman of Birnin-Gwari Emirate Progressives Union, Ishaq Kasai, who raised an alarm on this, said that the group regularly recruits young residents and marry off young girls in the area. According to him, the Ansaru group have camps in 7 political wards in the eastern part of the local government area. He also said that the militants usually beat up anybody found with posters of any political parties or symbols within the communities under their control. The chairman said that the Ansaru group continues to gain strength in the area whereby locals, particularly the youth, are being recruited. The Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Irabor has stated that the Zamfara Governor Bello Matawalle lacks the powers to instruct the Commissioner of Police in the state to issue gun licenses to the public. This follows a statement from the Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Dosara, on Saturday, mandating individuals to prepare and obtain guns to defend themselves against bandits. But speaking in an interview at the joint exercise for the National Defense College and War Colleges of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, codenamed Exercise Grand National, in Abuja on Monday, General Irabor disapproved the measures taken by Governor Matawalle to secure his state against insurgency. He also faulted the directive, asserting that the governor failed to use the available resources at his disposal to mitigate the insecurity issues within his domain. Irabor also clarified the position of the armed forces in the current administration, adding that it was not subject to directives from the state government.
Gives the right and the powers to the Commander-in-Chief for the use of the armed forces. And I believe that what we're doing in Zamfara State and of course across the states of the Confederation is in deference to these provisions of the Constitution. If what I read is true, I do not also think that the governor has the powers to instruct the Commissioner of Police to issue licenses, because the Commissioner of Police does not have the powers to issue licenses. Anyway, asking for citizens to bear arms, I'm yet to know. I believe that the Attorney General or the Federation will look at the Constitution and what the laws say and what the powers of the executive governor is to be able to do this.
In the meantime, following directives to residents to defend themselves, Zamfara State government said it is in talks with President Muhammadu Buhari to grant it permission to allow residents acquire weapons to defend their communities against terrorists. Special advisor to the governor, Bello Matawalle, on security, retired DIG Mamman Safi, told journalists in Gusau, the state capital, about the security measures being taken to curtail the activities of terrorists in the state.
The recent upsurge of terrorist activities in Zamfara State has compelled the state government to take hard decisions and security measures to address the menace, to enable residents and farmers to go about carrying out their lawful activities in the state without fear of terrorists. The State Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Dosara, lamented that Zamfara State is in a serious security crisis as the state has become a colony of banditry in Nigeria. He explained that though the federal government has since placed embargo on issuing of license for individuals to possess arms, but the security situation in the state is further deteriorating and becoming uncontrollable, hence the need for the state government to dialogue with President Muhammadu Buhari to allow residents obtain licenses to own guns to defend themselves.
Government has henceforth directed individuals to prepare and obtain lawful weapons to defend themselves against the bandits. Although there is an existing law that bans issuance of license to obtain such weapons, people wishing to obtain the weapon are advised to fill forms that will be distributed to each of the 19 emirates of the state, and enough number of such forms are so far been provided for distribution to people wishing to obtain local weapons that will be used in defending themselves.
On whether the security agencies have failed in the fight against terrorists, the state officials said they did not, but commended them for putting their best to tackling the prevailing security challenges in the state.
I always commend the efforts of the security agencies, especially on the background of the nature of the crisis. In every country, you see a guerrilla fight. Guerrilla is a very difficult situation to face. They have the advantage more than we do have, and they have monopolized the most strategic side of where, even if we are taking the battle to them, we have to be exceptionally very, very careful.
The Zamfara state government believes the security measures being put in place will create conducive atmosphere for farmers to return to their farmlands to engage in farming activities for bumper food production to boost economic activities in the state.
And on political matters, presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, said he is still searching for his running mate. He stated this in Abuja while delivering a keynote address at the 60th birthday celebration of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. Tinubu praised the Speaker for his contributions to democracy and also to his political ambition of becoming Nigeria's president, while extolling the virtues of his deputy, Idris Wase, for being a dependable ally. Also speaking, President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by his Chief of Staff, Ibrahim Gambari, described Gbajabiamila as a team player and a skillful parliamentarian. As part of efforts to encourage smooth democratic processes in countries within the West African region, Special Representative of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel has visited the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Abuja. The commission says that the visit was to canvass support for Nigeria as she prepares for her general election in 2023 and help ensure a peaceful exercise. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu reports.
So as Nigeria has been always the good example, and we are happy to know and to hear that the candidates have been already selected.
Les Nations Unies seront toujours à côté du Nigeria pour que cet événement puisse se passer dans les conditions les meilleures.
So the UN, the United Nations overall, will be always supportive to Nigeria so that the elections will take place peacefully.
Et une fois de plus, nous vous encourageons, nous vous félicitons pour le travail extrêmement important que vous nécessitez de faire pour la réussite de ces élections.
So we congratulate you and we support you again for the work being done, and the work will be done in terms of preparing these elections.
Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, who received the special representative of UNOWA, appreciated the support offered during the conduct of previous elections and assured of the Commission's commitment towards an increasingly consolidated electoral process.
On our invitation and working with the United Nations Office in Nigeria and the United Nations Development Program, the UNDP, we invited a United Nations Needs Assessment Mission ahead of the 2023 general election. And I'm glad that His Excellency, the Secretary General of the United Nations, accepted our invitation and not too long ago sent a needs assessment mission.
The INEC chairman, who said elections will be conducted based on the provisions of the Electoral Act, also noted that the outcome will be dependent on the choice made by Nigerians.
Election is both national and international. We have very good working relationship with our strategic partners and allies in the country. We work very closely with the political parties, with civil society organizations, with media, with the security agencies in the country. But at the same time, we also work closely with our friends in the international community, such as UNOWAS. So whenever you come on this kind of mission, we feel doubly encouraged to continue to do what we need to do for the peace and stability of our sub-region.
UNOWA is made up of 15 countries with 84 million registered voters across the sub-region. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up shortly. Kano residents consider camels as alternative. Stay with us for more details. Thanks for staying. You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Justice Olukayode Ariwola takes oath of office as acting CJN. Police arrest suspected killer of APC chieftain Gulak, others in Imo. And in other news, a petrol black marketer simply identified as Abdurrahman is said to have died after getting trapped under the Katampe Bridge along Kubwa Express in Abuja. The victim was said to have gone under the bridge in an attempt to recover some gallons of petrol swept by water when he got trapped on Sunday afternoon. 3 persons, including 2 officials of the Federal Fire Service and one of his friends who attempted to rescue the trapped Abdurrahman, also got trapped but were rescued. Emergency officials on ground could not respond to questions as they were busy with rescue operations at the time of filing this report. An eyewitness narrates the incident.
There are some people that sell black market fuel here, and so they hide their jerry cans with fuel in the bush. Then the heavy rain started, so the jerry cans fell inside a gutter. They waited for the rain to stop. Immediately, they went to retrieve the jerry cans. The 2 people entered the gutter. Some of the jerry cans' cap came off, so the fuel poured and got mixed with water. And the place looked very tight. There was not too much air. It was just the smell of fuel that they were perceiving. And so they ran out of breath, which made them got stuck. On seeing this, some friends quickly contacted some of their family members. So that's how they rushed to save them. While saving them, they were only able to bring out one of them, which was rushed to the hospital. He is okay. Meanwhile, in order to rescue the other guy still stuck inside, 2 police officers too got stuck, but they were lucky to be saved. While the other guy is still there, we don't know if he's alive or dead.
Now, following the recent increase in the price of meat across the Federation, people are resorting to buying other animals outside the regular cows and rams. In Nigeria's city of Kano, some residents are now considering camel as alternative to ram and cow. Trust TV's Idris Jibreen has the report.
It's been 10 years since Sani Kofarna Isa started sacrificing ram during Muslim Eid al-Kabir. But with the rising cost of ram, he's wondering if that will be possible this year. He and many others are now considering camel as an alternative sacrificial animal.
Decided to use camel this year because things are hard, and I believe camel is cheaper because small ram is now at between 50 or 60,000 naira upward. But if you get a camel of 150,000 naira, it will even be better than the ram in terms of meat quantity.
The price of ram and cow in Kano this year has rose to over 60% as against 2021, exceeding at least 100,000 naira per average ram and 400 to 1 million naira per average cow.
Camel this year is easier to afford, unlike cow and ram, because we have camel of 400 to 600,000 naira, and even from 200,000 to 240,000 naira, which is actually affordable to most people, especially those buying in group.
Although camel is rare in Kano, but it's gradually being considered as an alternative to ram and cow, largely because it's cheaper to buy and the meat quantity is much higher than cow.
Camel is more affordable than cow. For example, this camel is not more than 400,000 naira. And if you bargain, it can even be lower than that. But if you compare it with a cow of 400,000 naira, it means the camel will be more than a cow of 600,000 naira. So you see, it is cheaper to buy and is actually going to be affordable for most people. But with the continuous demand for the camel here in Kano, there are concerns that the price for this alternative animal to cow and ram could get higher too. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Nigerian pilgrims in Saudi Arabia are experiencing high cost of goods and services unlike what obtained in previous Hajj seasons. Some attribute the rising cost to dollar value appreciation in the country. Sharif Al-Hassan talks to pilgrims and how the exchange rate is affecting their daily activities in the Holy Land. The report.
The Grand Mosque of Mecca and Medina was locked down for nearly 2 years as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia struggles to stem the tide of the deadly virus. But that has changed. This time, the annual Hajj pilgrimage is taking place.
Authorities in Saudi Arabia seem to be easing coronavirus restrictions, which now give pilgrims unfettered access to the major grand mosques of Mecca and Medina without social distancing and wearing of face masks. But one thing that is staring thousands of Nigerian pilgrims in the face is the high cost of goods and services occasioned by a frequent rise in the dollar as against the Nigerian currency.
An exchange rate of $100 is approximately 65,000 naira, and to Saudi riyals is 375 riyals, and when converted to naira, 1 riyal is equivalent to 185 naira. So, for every goods and services patronized by a pilgrim in the Holy Land, the cost has nearly doubled or tripled compared to what was obtained during the last pilgrimage in 2019.
Anyone that wants to buy something, is better for that person to buy from home, Nigeria, because our currency doesn't have any value at all. And if care is not taken, the money, one half might not be enough for him to do things throughout their stay.
Barkindo Abdullahi Yakubu is one among thousands of Nigerian pilgrims feeling the brunt of the high cost of goods and services in Saudi Arabia. Barkindo is left with no option than to adapt and utilize scale of preference in his daily dealings to avoid running out of cash.
It is very clear, especially for my compatriots who come from Nigeria, you find that the exchange rate differs significantly. $100 US dollars is equivalent to 375 riyals, Saudi riyals. While if you compare it to Nigerian currency, you find that $100 is about 68,000 naira or so, or thereabout. So there is difference, and that difference is giving Nigerians headache.
For now, as pilgrims continue to grapple with the high cost of goods and services, Barkindo and many others who are on a pilgrimage in the country are cautious in their spending till their last stay in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
And in business news, at least 410.6 billion naira worth of raw sugar was imported to Nigeria from the second quarter of 2021 to the first quarter of 2022. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, disclosed this in a report it recently published. According to the report, the commodity, which is the main ingredient for sugar production in the country, is among the list of commodities on the foreign exchange restriction list of the Central Bank of Nigeria and has consistently been among the top 10 goods imported mainly from Brazil. A breakdown of each quarter indicates that the commodity termed cane sugar, specified in subheading Note 2 to Chapter 17, meant for sugar refinery, indicated that the 114 billion naira was imported from Brazil and Andorra in the second quarter of 2021, while 135 billion naira was used to import it from the same countries in the third quarter of 2021. However, its importation dropped to 85.3 billion naira and 81.5 billion naira in the fourth quarter of 2021 and the first quarter of 2022, respectively. Away from Nigeria, President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday urged world powers to step up their support for Ukraine via arms and sanctions as he addressed the G7 summit via video link from Kyiv after the capital was hit by the first Russian strikes in weeks. Zelensky asked G7 leaders to further squeeze Russia over its invasion of Ukraine by capping prices of oil exported by Moscow. The US and Canada, which are far less reliant on Russia as an energy supplier than Europe, have banned all Russian oil imports. Speaking ahead of a NATO summit scheduled for Wednesday, Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said Russia poses most significant and direct threat to their security. Meanwhile, the eastern Luhansk province, the governor urged all civilians to leave the city of Lysychansk, the last big city in the region still held by Ukrainian troops. With that, we wrap up the Trust News update. Connect with us via all social media platforms and our YouTube channel to watch more. I am Ayuba Iria. Thank you for watching.